then led to a result where one side got to tell the other side what the terms of the contract are and will be until 2009, and it's not fair. And what has happened is that you now have a continuing deterioration of the relationship between management and labor. And to show you how silly it's gotten, before I make some other points, I have one of the busiest airspaces in the world is in Oberlin, Ohio, the Oberlin Air Traffic Control Area. Well, today the headline in the Cleveland Plain Dealer is Air Traffic Controllers FAA Collide Over Dress. And the first paragraph is that an air traffic controller in Oberlin was reprimanded because his aquamarine pants were not gender appropriate. Now, I'm going to tell you, that kind of activity would not occur when you have labor and management talking to each other and treating each other with respect. But because we have this breakdown in communication, we now have a situation where it's not right. Now, the other observation that I want to make, and why I think that Mr. Costello's amendment needs to be passed, is that, and I want to say something about Mr. Micah. A lot of people in the NATCA community think Mr. Micah is a bad guy. There is nobody that has worked harder to make sure that the administration was at the table to try and work this out than Mr. Micah. But the fact of the matter is, to both sides in this agreement, everybody still has skin in this game, and I think Mr. Micah is right in that observation. The air traffic controllers, I think, based upon this vote, will win a pretty big win today by having this language inserted in the bill. They don't have the president's signature, and they don't have who knows if it's going to become law in its current form. We could not have reauthorization of the FAA. And likewise, I hope, like Mr. Costello's discharge petition in the last Congress, like the bill that I introduced with my good friend Mr. Lobiondo, which got 271 votes, including 76 Republicans. And if you forgot how you voted, I will be happy to tell you how you voted on that issue in the last Congress. We thought that those were sending signals, and we thought that it would perk people up and say, you know what, contracts that are arrived at through good faith, arm's length negotiations are the best contracts. And we thought that we'd send that signal to the administration, and we thought we'd send that signal to the air traffic controller. It didn't work. And the reason that Mr. Costello's amendment needs to be adopted, in my opinion, knowing a little bit about the hard work that Chairman Oberstar, Chairman Costello, Mr. Micah, Mr. Petri have done within the last 3 weeks to try and get this done, I thought we had a deal a week ago Sunday. And where we were, and to my understanding, is the money was worked out, that the administration said it's all about the money. And NATCA came in and said, here's the money. Here's the pile of money on the table. The administration, sadly, and I'm a Republican, it's a Republican administration, said we need the night to sleep on it. They came back Monday morning and said, you know what, it's not just about the money anymore. When you move the goalposts, you can't have a deal. And that's why I hope that both parties leave from this room saying, you know what, we better get back to work and figure this thing out, because if we don't, somebody else is going to figure it out for us. I urge support of the Costello amendment, and I thank the gentleman for his amendment.
Thank the gentleman for his observation. The gentleman from Iowa, Mr. Boswell.
Well, thank you, Mr. Chairman. I, too, support the amendment. I think it is procedure, it's process. It needs to be worked out, and nobody respects the military controllers any more than some of us here in the room, myself included. They do a wonderful job. But a controller with military aircraft over Baghdad compared to a controller at a weather day in Chicago or Los Angeles or Miami or Atlanta, when at one time on their screen they've got thousands of lives in their hands, is not a good comparison. These people have a high-stress job, and they've got to be the best under those circumstances. And for them to be able to have sit down and work out a deal is just unheard of. So thank you, leadership, for working on this. It needs to be solved. We got to realize that this growing industry, this key role, this immensely key role that these individuals play, men and women that sit and do that controlling, aircraft 3 minutes or less apart, one right after another, coming into these high-density areas. The responsibility is beyond description. We shouldn't even be talking about this in this sense. Let's give them the procedure to go and settle it. And I want to support this amendment.
Thank the gentleman. The gentleman from Alaska, Mr. Young, our former chairman.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and due respects to my ranking member. My concern is I do believe that there's been a moving of the goalposts, as Mr. LaTourette has mentioned. And I don't believe the administration really wants to solve this problem. And I believe in the long run that there may be in the back of some people's minds to destroy the cadre of controllers and to try to privatize the controlling system. Now, those are somewhat harsh words, but I don't think there's the interest to solving this problem with the negotiations that are going on right now, because there's no incentive for the administration. And Mr. Costello's amendment, I think, solves that problem. My concern is the back pay. But everything's negotiable as we go through this process. And if we give compliments to all the existing controllers, which I do, but I'm looking down the future, and I don't know how many young people I've talked to who wanted to get into the business. They're no longer interested because of the stalemate of the contract. And so what happens when we have a huge amount of attrition because of age? Because remember, most of these controllers are the ones who were hired after the firing, after the strike. And they're going to leave. Some of them will leave sooner than they were going to because of the impasse. But where are we going to, and what are we going to replace them with? So I'm suggesting respectfully that we ought to vote on this amendment, and hopefully with the help of Mr. Micah and Mr. LaTourette and Mr. Petri and Mr. Oberstar and Mr. Costello, that telling the administration we're serious about it. Now, as far as saying this is a non-starter, I have talked to Senator a lot. I will not take his name in vain. I will say he says it's a non-starter, but again, you know, things are negotiable. Things can be talked out. But right now we're at an impasse. It has to